Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Pink Sock Reacts. This is a little thing under our Pink Sock banner. Today, we're going to be reacting or talking about, or whatever you want to say, discussing the latest Guess Who album, Plein D'Amour, I think is how you pronounce it.
Thanks. Sounds like it.
It was released this year. It is actually the second album released with the current lineup. The first one was The Future Is What It Used to Be, which is a very interesting title. But Plein D'Amour is. Did you listen to the previous album, Gorak, the one before this one?
I haven't. No.
It is very
worth listening to.
You should. It is very hard rocky. It's a little heavier than this album, rock wise.
Yeah.
This album to me seemed kind of operatic, like an opera rock type album to me. Anyway.
Yeah. The opening track.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of like Boston and like Queen and bands like that. Did you get that vibe too, Greg?
I got that Queen and Zeppelin vibe to it.
Very Zeppelin-y, which is interesting from a band of this stature because that's kind of the sound they was in their youth, I should say, or during the classic lineup. And I'm not going to get into the debate of is it still the Guess Who with only one original member. I'm not going to get into that.
We could probably ask him that one when he's on the show.
We could, but like when it comes to music, I focus on the music when I'm
That's
reviewing.
If he wants to talk about it, though.
Not who's in the band. I want to focus on the music. This album is similar to the original Guess Who, yet not. Now we can really dive into their history because honestly, people can claim all they want. This isn't the original singer, but the classic Guess Who wasn't the original singer either.
Yeah. Well, their first album was in 1969.
1965.
1965?
They formed in 1958, technically speaking. Their first album ever was Shaken All Over.
So it took like, 9 years to do an album?
Yes, their first album ever was Shaken All Over.
It's not up on Spotify.
They were actually...
Oh, it is on Spotify. Sorry. Yeah.
They're actually... The Spotify's weird with the Guess Who because, like, for some reason, they did reissues, and the reissue is labeled under the date that it's reissued, not the date it was originally released. But they were originally named Chad Allen and the Expressions, with the name Guess Who ? Above it, because I'm not sure the full history. I'd have to talk to Gary about it because he is an original member in the sense of first album. He was the drummer of Chad Allen and the Expressions, and then due to some kind of lawsuit or whatever, they changed their name to Chad Allen. Forget what they changed their name to. Hold on, let me remember real quick. I forget what they changed their name to, but they released an album under the name The Guess Who after 2 albums as Chad Allen and the Expressions. So they went from Chad Allen and the Expressions to The Guess Who with a question mark. And then they went on after 2 albums under that name. They dropped the question mark because Chad Allen left. And they were known as just the Guess Who. And then in 1975, the band broke up, and because Burton Cummings left the band, and the band kind of toured under the Guess Who name without him. And in 1984, they reunited, and then they broke up again. And then now we had kind of a little reunion in 95 without any original members, I believe, other than a couple. And then they reunited yet again in 2008 with the current lineup. That happens a lot with them older bands.
Sounds like Kiss.
Now that we're kind of caught up, the Guess Who musically, I decided to listen. And I know I didn't have to do this, but I skimmed through and listened to every single fucking album this band has released that's available.
Well, with this one, you cruise along through it. It goes for like 30-something minutes.
This album's great. I must say, out of the 2 albums that was released with this lineup, this one's probably the stronger one structurally, even though I really do like the previous one as a hard rock standpoint. This one's very operatic, and the singer's voice is incredible.
What? Oh yeah, that's what I was about to say. The singer's amazing, and the band sounded really good.
Yes, and
but
they sounded really good with their harmonies together.
But when I was listening to this yesterday, when I was doing some cleaning and stuff, and then it stopped, I'm like, already? Like you cruise along through it so easy.
Yeah, the album really isn't that long, I don't think. It is 36 minutes and 30 seconds long. Every single track to me sounds like it belongs on this album. You know, you have those albums where you're like, oh, this is a different song, or this is different structurally, or whatever. Each song sounds like this band, if that makes any sense. Like there's no track that makes you wonder if you changed albums by accident. There are with some bands, nothing against those bands. I do love those bands. I love this album too. They're all different. But this is definitely a great album. Is it the Guess Who, though? That's debatable depending on who you talk to. To me, it sounds like a 70s rock band that released a new album. This album sounds
a different lineup.
Yeah, this album literally sounds like it could have been released in 1978.
Yeah, easy. Or maybe like the early 80s.
Yeah. Now, what is your favorite track on this album, Gorak?
Favorite track? The opening track's pretty good.
The King?
Yeah.
Guys, go check out The King. There's actually a music video for it on YouTube right now.
People Around You is good. Spaces. But if I had to pick my all-time favorite, or my favorite track personally, I have to say the opening track.
I'd say Pursuit of No Regret was my
favorite. I was just looking at that one too.
Now, Gorak, is this an album that you would actively like seek out and be like, hey, I want to listen to this new this Guess Who album? Is this a band or an album that you would actively seek out to listen to now that you've heard the album?
It's one of those albums you can probably put on your playlist.
Yeah, but is it one of those albums, like if you hear Guess Who has a new album out after hearing this, would you actively go check it out, or is it something that you just hear on the radio?
Yeah. I have to check out like their other stuff though. No, I'll put this. It's something I will check out. Check out.
It's very interesting with this band because when they first hit the scene as Chad Allen and the Expressions or whatever their name was at the time, because they went through several name changes even then, they were in the same boat and the same musically as like the Beatles, the Yardbirds, bands like that. And then they evolved into like a psychedelic rock band. And then they went into a hard rock band. Like they constantly evolved over the years. And that's what I love about this band.
Yeah.
And I talked to somebody the other day. And when I said, hey, I'm interviewing Gary Peterson of the Guess Who, their reply was, aren't they a one-hit wonder? And I said, no, they are not at all.
They're known for doing covers as well.
Not necessarily. They have a lot of hits that are original hits that have won gold records. They've won all kinds of awards. They have American Woman.
So is that their song?
That's their song. American Woman.
Okay, it was like Lenny Kravitz and that, also.
Lenny Kravitz came out way after that, bro.
Yeah, he did a really good cover of that song there.
This one came out in 1970. They did American Woman, These Eyes, No Time, No Sugar, Tonight in My Coffee. You know that song, right? No sugar tonight in my coffee. No sugar tonight in my tea. Fucking great song.
I gotta listen to that. That sounds really catchy.
They have a lot of really great songs, and a lot of people are kind of upset about this. I talked to a friend that's a Guess Who fan. The band's classic lineup is Gary Peterson, Jim Cale, and my brain's all over the place. I'm highly caffeinated, so I apologize. The classic lineup is Gary Peterson, of course, Randy Bachman, Jim Cale, and Burton Cummings. Those are the main guys. And now it's just Gary. And a lot of people are upset. I'm not. I love it. I think it's great. Is it a money grab? Maybe. I mean, maybe. Business is
maybe. Is there
what?
Is there like a court case going between that still? Is there still like a court? Is it like a court case going between?
Well, since 2003, according to Wikipedia, since 2003, Bachman and Cummings have collaborated occasionally, but have not been able to use the Guess Who name due to refusals from Cale, who continues to own the trademark. So Cale still owns the trademark, but he's not in the band. So they must have, the current lineup must have had the go ahead by Cale to do it.
Maybe, yeah. That's always shit when these things happen.
Oh, this is why.
Yeah. A lot of bands seem to do that, like the other band members.
I just read this. After Cale's retirement in 2016, Peterson's the only remaining member continuing on. So Cale must have retired and said, go ahead.
Yeah.
It is shit, but it's also like musically, they're still great. They're still a great fucking band.
It seems to happen to a lot of bands these days now.
And like, I'm not going to hate on it. Not because Gary might be listening, just because I love the music, but a comment that I saw a friend of mine make, they're like, well, the band should change their name to Guess Who's Still in the Band.
Yeah.
Other than
that should be like the next album.
Other than that little debate or whatever, it's a great album. They're a great band. So let's just focus on the album and the music. It's a very good operatic, metal, rock, whatever you want to call it, album.
I say classic rock.
Classic rock, but it has like opera elements, like the Queen kind of elements. Now the vocalist teeters along the lines of Robert Plant and Freddie Mercury.
And a little bit of Journey.
And a little bit of Journey in Boston. I got the Boston vibe a little bit. Especially when they harmonize together.
What I mean by when I said about Journey, I said like the album cover.
Yeah, the album cover is very Journey-ish. But when I say Boston, I mean like their harmonies when they come together.
No, the album cover is pretty cool though.
Album art's amazing. Now, Gorak, what do you rate this album between 1 and 10?
I go 7.9.
I give it about an 8.
Yeah.
I give it about an 8.
Well, I was very close to our rankings.
Very close. And I'll just say 7.5 as an average. Now, I am very excited to say this. We do have the man himself in the building on Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time.
Which is Saturday for me.
We have Gary Peterson of the Guess Who. We're going to talk about the album. We're going to talk about his career. We're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about the Guess Who, all that shit. I think he had a solo album out I got to check out.
I've told like a kitchen hand at my work the other day. I'm like, you heard of the band The Guess Who? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, we got the drummer on this week. She goes, what? I'm like, yeah.
He has been, according to their website, he has been on every single release and been on every single tour of the Guess Who.
Fuck yeah, he's carrying that torch for the band.
Now, I don't know, because I'm getting kind of confused, so I can ask him this. He's been on every release. However, there has been albums released without him under the Guess Who name. So I don't know what they're considering the Guess Who.
Maybe we have to guess who is it.
So I'm going to have to ask him what they consider the Guess Who. But, dude, great album.
People that come up with band names like that we should ask them where did the band name come from.
Well, the band name came from this record company was running from my understanding, they were running some kind of something, telling people to guess who they just signed. So they had guess who question mark, and it was
Yeah.
Chad Allen and the Expressions, but the album said guess who question mark Chad Allen and the Expressions. Well, nobody really knew who Chad Allen and the Expressions were. They weren't that big of a name as they were making them out to be, so they dropped the Chad Allen and the Expressions and became the Guess Who.
The next album cover, hear me out. The next album cover should be like the Guess Who board game. And write a whole album based on that.
From what I read, I guess the Guess Who tried asking the Who to change their name because it was
really?
confusing the fans.
Yeah, right.
But I cannot wait to talk to Gary, dude.
That'd be interesting.
This is pretty big. And guys, if you guys have any questions for Gary Peterson, send us a message, but it has to be by Thursday so that we have time to go through them. We have questions we already have questions coming in, Gorak.
Oh, nice.
We have a question from our dear friend Ashley O'Neill is coming up with a question for us. Eric Dover has a question for him, and a few other people. So it's going to be a sick and fun podcast. I cannot wait. Gorak, next week on Pink Sock Podcast, we are going live on Monday. So we have 2 episodes for you, Friday and Monday. And then for Pink Sock Reacts, we're going to be doing Studio 666.
I'm going to be so fucking tired, bro.
We're going to do that with Grixie, the Goblin, if he's available. He wanted to do it.
Yeah. I haven't heard from him in a while.
Haven't. And I'm going to get into his little troll cave and I'm going to wake him up and summon him. But, Greg, is there anything you want to promote, anything you want to talk about before I let you sleep?
Rest in peace to that singer from the Smash Mouth.
Yes, rest in peace, singer of Smash Mouth. It is very sad what happened. I heard he was on life support. Next thing I know, he was dead.
Yeah, it's alcohol poisoning, dude.
Oh, I knew he had some problems. Oh, also, guys, if you're in the Belmont County area, Muck Sticky is coming to Jacobsburg. He's headlining 2 nights of the OVDJ Camp Out. Get your tickets while the supplies last. There's only 420 tickets available. Greg, I've been sending out emails. We have some interviews coming up. We have some guests coming. If you have any ideas of guests that you want on, send them our way.
I have a huge announcement for the nu metal fans out there in Australia, which I'm kind of am, but Mudvayne and Cold Chamber are touring together in Australia.
Fuck yeah, they just did a tour in the States. I missed it. I heard it was incredible though, so go check that out.
And there's been heaps of huge tour announcements coming to Australia. Going to see Ghost in a few weeks.
Fuck yeah, dude. Let me know how that is.
Billy Vallow in March. The band Filter's coming to Australia for the first time in 20 years.
Dude, that's fucking awesome. Filter's good.
Yeah, I've only heard one song. But
bro, check them out.
The singer played for 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah. Also, bro, the band Filter is one of those bands. There's a lot of them out there that had 1 or 2 major hits, but check out the rest of their music because it's fucking incredible.
Yeah, I know that their guitarist or bassist had a fallout with him because he wasn't getting paid enough, or he wasn't getting any money.
That's fucked up.
Yeah,
Filter is actually a local band for me.
Oh yeah, are they around from your area?
They live in Ohio.
Nice. Yeah, because I did a tour with Alice and Rob recently, I think.
Also, Filter is a very interesting band because they were known for that big hit song, the Hey Man, Nice Shot, which is about a guy who shot himself on the news. We'll talk about that another time. That's for a future episode.
Really?
Yes. This guy, it was live on the news. Fuck it, I'll say it now. It was live on the news. He was in trouble for embezzling money or some shit. and he was about ready to go to court, and they go into his office, and he pulls out a gun and shot himself on national television. And come to find out, he was actually innocent of all charges. He didn't do it. That's what that song is about. But guys, go check out the Guess Who's latest album, Plein D'Amour, and go check out the Guess Who, dude. Check out any of these bands that like had like a few hits that are still popular, because a lot of these bands are still fucking great and have great songs that go unnoticed.
And it's new to people like myself as well.
Yeah,
but
like,
if you dig right in, it's. Oh, here I found the that song that you were saying, "No Sugar Tonight."
Yes, great song. Also, another great band from the same era that they were really popular, but they're not like a lot of their music isn't popular today, is Cream, the band that does Sunshine of Your Love. They're fucking incredible. I listened to one of their albums and it is great.
Very underrated.
Very underrated band. But I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to let Gorak sleep. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Check out the Guess Who's latest album. And support up-and-coming music, whether they're classic bands that don't get much airtime anymore or up-and-coming artists, because artists are coming up. We need to shape the future, and that is why we do this. We do up-and-coming artists. We do all kinds of stuff. We interview anyone and everyone that will be on the show. We have Gary Peterson, the Guess Who, on here, but we've also had so many great up-and-coming artists. Support local music. Support up-and-coming bands.
You can't go to the gigs, buy their shirts, man.
Go to the gigs, buy their shirts, whatever. Support these bands, because if we don't support the future, we're not going to have a future of music.
And it's just going to be filled with rap artists.
Or cover songs.
Just saying.
And it's kind of sad because a lot of artists are more popular for covers than they are their original music.
Yeah, no, it's kind of sad.
Let's talk about that Monday.
Yeah. It seems to happen a lot lately now.
Let's talk about that Monday, because we did have somebody that we interviewed on this podcast that is a one-hit wonder for a song that he covered. And I've listened to his other songs and some of his original stuff, and it is incredible music. But he does not get that recognition. But anyway,
was I there for that? I don't remember.
You was there for that, I do believe, and he is coming back on the podcast. But love you all. As always, live long, rock hard.
Well, that's right.
See y'all Wednesday.